Hello students, this is Miss Dalton, and today we're going to continue on with the laws of exponents from yesterday's video. So we're going to look at what happens when you raise a power to a power. So to first look at that, we're going to take this example, x to the third to the fourth power. We're going to write it in expanded form so that we can see what happens. So x to the third to the fourth power means you're going to be taking x to the third, multiplying that times itself 4 times. So x to the third times x to the third times x to the third times x to the third. Okay, well, x to the third, if you remember, is just x times x times x. Okay, so if I expand it out even further, you can see that I'm going to have 4 sets of 3 x's. So now if I go ahead and multiply that and simplify it, then I'm going to have x, I've got 3 here, another 3 makes 6, another 3 makes 9, another 3 makes 12. So I have x to the 12th power. So notice what happened when I started with this example and I ended up with this answer. So it looks like that what you do is you take that power, when you have a power to a power, and you multiply them. And that's going to get you the x to the 12th power. Okay, so let's write that in a statement. When raising a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So if you have a general case, a to the m to the nth power, well, that would be a to the m times n. All right, so let's look at this next example. W to the second to the third power. So now, since we know that that's what's going to happen, we can just go ahead and multiply those exponents. So w to the 2 times 3, so that's going to give us w to the 6th power. Okay, now let's look at when we have a product to a power. Well, kind of the same thing's going to happen. You're going to have what's in parentheses, 4a squared b, and we're going to multiply times itself 3 times. Well, when you multiply, you want to take your coefficients 4, 4, and 4, and you want to multiply those together first. Okay? Then you're going to take your a's together, and so we're going to have a squared times a squared times a squared. And then we're going to have our b's, b times b times b. Now let's simplify that. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 would give you 64. So I'm going to write that over here. And then a squared times a squared times a squared. You would add those exponents together, so you're going to have a to the 2 plus 2 plus 2. So that would give you a to the 6th. And then the b's would just be b to the 3rd power. Okay, so let's analyze what happened here. It looks like what happens when you have a product to a power is you want to distribute that power to everything. Okay, and that's how you're going to get your answer. All right, so when raising a product to a power, you are going to distribute the exponents. So if you have a general case, a times b, all raised to the n power, you're going to distribute that exponent of n to both of those. So you're going to have a to the n power times b to the n power. Well, same thing's going to happen when you have a quotient to a power. if I was to expand this out, that would be x divided by y times x divided by y times x divided by y. When you multiply fractions, you multiply the top, so x times x times x would give you x cubed, and the bottom, y times y times y, would be y cubed. So there we can see that that exponent got raised. We're going to distribute that exponent to the numerator and the denominator to make it our answer. Okay, so you're still going to distribute the exponents. So if you have the general case a divided by b to the n power, that's going to be a to the n power divided by b to the n power. Okay, so let's look at this example, this last example in our lesson tonight. Make sure that when you do this, you're going to distribute that power to everything on the inside. So I'm going to rewrite this because I want to make sure that you're seeing that it's going to go to everything. So I'm going to have on the top 5 to the 4th power. Then I'm going to have m to the 3rd power raised to the 4th power. Then I'm going to have n squared to the 4th power. On the bottom, you're going to have 3 to the 4th power, and then m to the 4th power. So you can see that I distributed that 4, that exponent of 4, to everything. Everything gets that exponent of 4. And now let's go ahead and try and simplify it. 5 to the 4th power, you can do that on your calculator, but it comes out to be 625. M to the 3rd to the 4th power, so remember we've got a power to a power, which means you're going to multiply those. So I had m to the 12th. And then n squared to the 4th power, you would multiply those, so you would end up with n to the 8th. Over 3 to the 4th power, you can use your calculator for that. That gives you 81. And then m to the 4th power, so that's just going to stay here. Okay, now we notice that we do have these numbers. So you could see if you could simplify that. We could try and simplify it on our calculator. You'll find out that there's nothing that could be simplified there, so that's going to stay just 625 over 81. Now the m to the 12th divided by m to the 4th, we're going to take 4 of these m's and subtract it from that exponent. So that's going to be m to the 8th. Remember from our previous lesson, when you're dividing, you're going to subtract the exponents. And then n to the 8th doesn't have anything to be simplified with, so that's just going to stay on the top. And this is your final answer. All right, so hopefully the laws of the exponents are becoming clear to you. We will be doing practice with them all together in the next day or so. Come to class, make sure you fill out your WISC, and put on there any questions that you have about this video.